Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with my boys, Cal and Petey. Say what's up, guys.
Ready to rock.
What up?
Today we're talking about what's going on with DC, in their consolidation. They are dropping one of the most quintessential characters, Aquaman. DC Comics is dropping
Not
Aquaman.
dropping it like they're selling it.
They are canceling it.
Canceling it.
Okay? So, I mean, just out-cutting it. They're not ending the line. It's just done, finished, finito. So, talking to the guys, what do you guys think about the canceling of one of the top 5 characters in DC after Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash?
Let me start it off and say, Cal, what happens when Aquaman gets canceled?
Nothing.
The problem is this is caught up in the whole SJW sort of thing of saying Kelly Sue, the writer of this, she's gotten some controversy because she said to the fans, hey, if you don't like what I do, don't buy it, right? So ultimately, Kelly Sue Deconnick, right?
And who is she again?
She's the writer of Aquaman. So she basically said that a while before. Ultimately, Aquaman has kind of run its course. But the fact is that there's a successful movie which we didn't know was going to be that successful, right? So they're saying
no one knew.
I knew.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I knew. I told you guys, and if you could look back at some of the videos, I said in the cons, when you went to the cons and you saw this guy at the cons, the lines were off the chart. I told you guys this guy was, people constantly were doing
You
stuff.
said it was going to make $1 billion.
I didn't say billion. I just said it was going to be successful. Okay.
Okay.
It's a difference.
Yeah, whatever.
It's a difference. Don't try to twist my words around, bro.
Yeah. Okay. I already know what success means for you.
So with that all said, the fact is that it's picked up some sort of buzz because people are like, DC hasn't brought back Aquaman to its, to its roots, what was successful with Geoff Johns. Only problem is Geoff Johns and Ivan Rice are were the biggest 2 things at the time. Of course it's going to be a success. It did sort of carry over and it did sort of last for a little while, but I mean, without the top talents on it, how is it going to stay alive? And comic books can't get canceled every day, B. Every day they get canceled. And this to go to it and be like, you know what?
But this is Aquaman. Can't cancel Aquaman.
So Kelly, I don't know if she quit or she got fired, but she announced back in, I think it was back in August. So this is not something that we thought someone else was going to come in. She said in August that I think that she was going to run, I think November was going to be the end of it or something along those lines. But the fact of the matter is that, we knew that this happened. The question was who's going to pick up, who was going to carry the ball, what talents were they going to do? Were they going to bring the artists and writers from Batman and put them over to Aquaman?
Why?
To give it a boost?
How would they do that?
I'm saying why not?
Because they can't write Aquaman.
But there's an inherent issue. Probably don't want one.
This is not the old days. This is not the Bronze Age or Copper Age, or even with the top tier writer like a Mark Waid or Johns or Straczynski, where these guys actually know how to write. Most of these guys, you put them on Batman because they can write Batman. They can't write anybody else. What's his name? Azzarello? Azzarello can do his hard-boiled crime Batman stuff. He can't write anything else.
I'm not going to go there and say one generation's writers was better than. I'm not going to go there and say one generation
for tomorrow.
Yeah, he wrote Superman for tomorrow. We can do a show on that if you want.
Right. I'm not going to go into this argument that the old guys are better than the new guys. I mean, that all that shows is that you guys.
That's you casting aspersions. Nobody said anything about anybody's age.
But that's what you're basically saying. The Bronze Age guys, the Golden Age guys are better. All I'm saying is
they were.
There's a problem with the story.
Aquaman didn't sell back then either, though.
No, he didn't. Not even Peter David on the book.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, there's an endemic issue with aquatic superheroes. We have the same thing with Namor.
What are you talking about? You're going to try to make this some victimology? Get out of here.
There's no victimology. I'm just saying, hey,
aquatic superheroes. Get out of here with that nonsense.
No one really reads the comics about these aquatic superheroes. Aquaman or Namor.
Do you read them? Do you read them?
I don't. And I bought them and I've read some of them, but I haven't kept up with them. They just haven't piqued my interest enough. you know? So I have done it. So it's not like I don't read them all, you know? But what I'm just saying is that
You
they
have
keep
done
on.
it? What story do you remember that you read?
Yeah.
Oh, so far ago you've forgotten.
It
Surprising.
wasn't so far ago. I bought some Aquaman comics a couple of months ago. It was some story he lost his memory, and I think I did a review on that where he lost his memory and he was on this island and they were trying to tell him what's going on. There was a goddess, so that's one story. And Namor, I was reading the whole thing where he was trying to get back with his old World War II buddies like Captain America and some of the others. So yeah, those are some
The
older
Invaders?
storylines. I
That's the
can't
thing?
remember exactly. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't memorable, so I stopped following both of those lines.
So
It
maybe
was
you
the
should have read
Invaders?
from the older guys.
Huh?
Maybe you should read the stories from the older guys. That you
The
don't-
point of the matter is these stories, when you look at the numbers, these are not the biggest
I'm
selling
trying to find out
titles.
if you were reading The Invaders or not.
It was the Invaders. That's it. That's right. The Invaders. You know, I read the first 2 issues and I was like, that's enough for me.
Wow. All right, but I see that's on this present day of comic books.
No, but I'm saying, look, the issue I'm trying to make is that they're not selling.
You didn't like the
Aquaman.
story. If you don't like the story, what does that have to do with aquatics?
I'm anti-aquatics. Well, there must be something wrong. They can't write the aquatics any good then. You know what I'm trying to say?
You got other comic books that suck. You didn't go
Yeah.
to the water
I don't see
aspect.
I don't see what the reason for you bringing identity politics into this is. You know, or trying to
What?
create them for that matter.
Are you out of your freaking mind? It
Yeah.
just
When did
it
become
doesn't
when did you
do
become so
anything.
liberal?
Okay?
When did you become so liberal? When did that happen?
What? I'm saying
Lefty.
Aquaman and Namor, they're too similar.
Well, wait a second. You were saying they should bring it more in line with the movie, right? And basically make them look like this.
I said they need to do something more. They have to do something different. They have to make him more like Jason Momoa. Probably that
like
would
Namor.
Oh my God.
Like
Who's
Savage
that?
Namor.
Who's that? Like Son of Liefeld?
That's Jay Lee. Mr. Hellshock, Mr.
Sweet. That's Namor?
Yep, that was Savage Namor.
Okay, turn it off. Please.
What I'm saying is, and I'll say it again, I've said this before several times. I think one of the reasons these comics don't sell as much is that you need to, if you have the big movie shows coming on, you need to tie those more closely to that. If that's a success, if Namor as Jason Momoa sells and Namor as the current Namor, I mean not Namor, if Aquaman as Jason Momoa sells and
Freudian slip.
Aquaman as the current comic book isn't selling, why don't you start following, hey, you know what?
Because it
The son of
doesn't work.
Aquaman, make him
Because it
more like
doesn't-
Momoa. You know,
Because
probably
it
he would
doesn't
sell.
work.
Huh?
It doesn't work. It never has.
Well, we don't know. Let's give it a shot. All I'm saying, we're trying to.
No, they've done this before. It doesn't work. How many times are you going to keep doing it? It doesn't work. The movie comes out, people go to see the movie, and they're like, hey, why don't you make it more in line with the movie? They've done that before. It never works because the people who enjoyed the movie don't read the books. The people who are reading the books are reading for one thing, and the people who watch the movie enjoy it for something else. It never works. That's why I don't do it.
Then guess what's going to happen? They're going to cancel this because the readership is so low. There's no connection, as opposed to the
Fine by me.
Going to go on to make another $1 billion.
Aquaman, historically, in terms of a character, has been a supporting character. He was a supporting character in the back of books since the Golden Age. He finally got a bump up to his own series, let's say mid to late Silver Age, and that series got canceled. After it got canceled, he went back to being a backup character in books like Adventure Comics. Okay, then some time passed. He gets to go and be front man on the Justice League. Okay? So if you wanted to see him, you can go see him in the Justice League. You can see him in these backup comics. Eventually, he'll get another limited series, and then he would get another shot at his own series. It would get canceled. It would get canceled again. It would be canceled. He's on volume 7 right now when it comes to his own book. He's never reached 100 issues of his own series. Okay, Aquaman is one of those characters that just gets perennially canceled, or let me say not perennially, but perpetually canceled. He's gonna get a series like Batgirl or something, okay, or Moon Knight. They get a series, it's gonna run its course, and he gets canceled. He's not Superman or Wonder Woman or Batman, Spider-Man. It's not like, okay, we're shutting this down to start him over again at a number 1 just so we can keep this thing going. He gets canceled. That's just it. Okay, so when you see Aquaman getting canceled, you should just be like, okay, especially if you're an Aquaman fan, you should be like, okay, great, I'm gonna save some money for about 1.5 years, and then they'll come up with a new series, and I'll start collecting again. But at the very least, I know I've got this collection right over here tight.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I just think that, and I'll tell you, like I said before, I just think that if they tied it more to the movie, I know you said it doesn't work, or something else, I think it'll be a great cross-pollination, especially when the movie's going to do $1 billion. If Aquaman does, the comic did $25 million a year, or $50 million a year, DC would be happy. But it's not even doing that. And that's all I'm saying. If you can get 10% or 5% of the people who watch the movie to also do that, that would be
Never
fantastic.
do it. Never. Superman the movie came out, okay, and that was pretty much in line with the comics. That was pretty much what was going on in the comics those days. It wasn't too far away from it at the end of the day. Lex Luthor, okay, Lois Lane, Superman, Jimmy Olsen, Superman saving the planet. That was pretty much what was going on in the comics. That was like that movie, to be quite honest, was a good gateway if you wanted to start reading the comics. Did it boost comic sales? No. Batman, the movie came out, okay? Batman was nothing, okay? Was nothing like what was going on in the comics at the time. But if I had a bat and drew it on a piece of paper and stood on the corner at that time, I could have made $1 for it. That was just Batmania. It had nothing to do with it. The movie finished. They said, you know what? Why don't we try to bring it a little bit more in line? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? So they did stuff to try to bring it more in line with the movie. And you know what happened to the sales? Nothing. That was all movie hype. All movie hype. Okay, so they gave him the all black outfit. Okay, they had some of the guys who were on the movie even come over write some stories. They tried to, hey, how do we make the thing like with this whole Jack Napier thing? It didn't work. So you can do
what they need to do is put the comics in the movie theaters. So that when people go to the movie theaters,
that.
And
You're not,
your popcorn.
not anything new you're talking about. These guys aren't stupid.
I'm just saying, probably just needs to be tried again. I'm saying just because it didn't work the first time, probably needs to be worked something else.
No, you're doing that business speak now, where you're thinking because you have the idea. If we do it because you said it, somehow we're going to get a different reaction from it. Like, okay, you flushed the toilet wrong. See, watch me do it. I'm going to flush the toilet right. No, it's the same toilet.
That's right. You pull down the seat, and you flush the toilet. You listen to make sure the plunger, everything goes down. You make sure everything, then you let it go. Then that's how you flush the toilet. Then you close the seat down. And we always close the seat down. All right.
I would say that
and wash your hands.
The Batmania was something that was different. That was a big success for DC. But then, as Cal said, it didn't. The changes that they made, they still had to do all the events, which was, they did the Troika. They did every event that they did after Nightfall was just related to them keeping the sales where it was. It wasn't like, oh, he's got a black outfit on. It changed. Like, no, they were selling decent, and it didn't just say, oh, now it just spiked because he had the total black outfit on. And then it just like sort of they still doing the events to keep people in there up till No Man's Land, that sort of thing. So
what really increased the sales, Batman, at the end of the day was the animated series, because there was a whole bunch of kids who got into Batman watching that animated series, and they graduated from watching that series into reading those books. That was like the biggest pipeline and they don't even have one now, but that was the biggest reason why Batman sales increased and still have it, because these guys have been in Batman's yard for years. It was based on those animated series that they had. All the other DC characters, if you wanted to see your favorite DC character, if you were lucky, if you were an Aquaman fan, if you were lucky, he might fight Wonder Woman in an episode of Justice League that episode, if you were lucky. But he almost never got star billing in any of those things. And Wonder Woman was here or there. Even Superman, wasn't going to get that, didn't get the treatment that Batman got over there. But it wasn't the films, it was the animated series. You got the kids. Once the kids got more interested, like, oh, he always watches Batman on TV. Let me get him some of these comics. He read the comics, he stayed with them. That's the majority of the Batman readers now. If you ask them, hey, how'd you get into Batman? Oh, well, I enjoyed watching the cartoon. It was never the movie.
Well, it also gave them another revenue stream with a whole new set of animated comic books. And usually that I think Superboy had it was sort of like an animated, that sort of animated artists on it. So they would have that. So with Batman, it had one of the most long running, even though they reissued it with different names, one of the book that even the pros were like, this was probably their favorite Batman comic book series at that period. So, you know, you had something that went on for a while. So I guess with Aquaman, there has never really been that. And we can give sort of the pain to sort of say that Kelly is the reason. But I mean, what? Let's go to the simple fact of it. You have something like the Doom Patrol that never sold, that died on the vine when its original series, got brought back in the 70s, then got brought back in the 80s, got its big fame with Grant Morrison, where Grant Morrison sort of really cut his teeth. I don't know if it sold crazy, but there was a lot of buzz around it. And the art writer after, I guess it was it Rachel Pollack who took it over after that, tried to keep it weird. Fans just bolted. And the Doom Patrol's been canceled a few more times since that point. Huh?
It should continue to be canceled.
So, I mean, that's the nature of some of these titles. And even when you have a success, the following up the success is kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do.
Yeah, no, I'm not for malpractice where you have a show on TV and they don't have a comic book out at the same time saying, look, maybe we can catch some people. Because that's, I think they had the Supergirl show out, and I'm not saying Supergirl was a great show or anything, but Supergirl show was on TV, and at the same time, there was no Supergirl comic. And, you know, guys were like, hey, you know, why don't you make a Supergirl comic? You know, they're like, what? And they even had one that was, this was a straight to digital, but it was straight in line with what was going on in the show, which I don't think necessarily was a good thing, but it was straight in line with what was going on with the show. But you don't want to do that sort of malpractice where, okay, we got an Aquaman movie coming out, which is going to come out. He's only going to be canceled for so long anyway. So, you know, we got an Aquaman movie coming out. What are we going to do? Oh, well, maybe we'll put out a series. Like, no, you got to get that series out to go in line with the movie. It's unfortunate. But when I used to sell toys, what we used to do with the toys is you had to try to get the toys, and you wanted to get the toys that were going to go in line with whatever movie came out. So if the movie that was coming out was like RoboCop 2 or something of that nature, you wanted to get your hands on the RoboCop toys like a couple of months, at most maybe 3 months before the movie, and not too many. And then you wanted to really push those toys before the movie came out. Oh, kid, you want to get your RoboCop toy. You go to the movies with the RoboCop toy and this, that, and the other. Because once the movie came out and the movie was over, you were stuck with those toys. You were stuck with them. The best you could hope for was Christmas. And if that movie came out near Christmas, you were really stuck with those toys. You weren't going anywhere with them. But that's how, it's the same thing with the comics. A lot of times with the films, well, you have to try, you can push those things. You're going to see some better sales overall. There are Aquaman comics that I could move before the movie that I will never be able to move without that movie. But in terms of, well, let's adopt stuff from the film, I think they did try to do that. I mean, they gave him the long hair and the beard, you know, they might even gave him some tats or something of that nature. But what's going on in the comic? I mean, what you're doing is you already have a readership, and what you're saying is, okay, let's totally disrupt this readership to try to get some of these guys who went to go and see the movie. And you have to remember that the majority of the time, the people who go see the movie are not going to go seek this comic book out. It's like Lord of the Rings. How many people went to go read the book after they saw the film? Even if you ask them, well, did you go read the book afterwards? They're like, what for? Didn't I see the movie? They're not concerned. You know, they're like, hey, I saw the movie. That's pretty much the book, isn't it? And you tell them, no. There's all this stuff that happened in the book that didn't happen in the film, and this, that, and the other. They're like, wow, well, maybe one of these days I'll get around to doing it. That's 3 volumes. Lord of the Rings is a 3-volume book. Most people will not go to seek out a 20-page comic. So it's just not going to happen. But we shouldn't feel bad. Aquaman will be back. But we should also remember that historically, Aquaman gets canceled. Aquaman is a supporting character. That's been his history the majority of the time that he's been around. There's nothing shameful in it. Okay, yes, if it wasn't for Superboy, we probably would have never seen Aquaman again because he was a backup feature in Superboy for years. Yes, if it wasn't for Superboy again in Adventure Comics, which he kept alive for years, Aquaman would have had no place to go after his own series was canceled. Okay, yes, you can put Peter David on there and give him a hook and long hair, which he already done had. Yes, we should thank Namor because that whole gritty attitude and everything like that, they were trying to borrow a lot from Namor. We can only imagine what they're going to do. It changed. He was more gritty in the Justice League movie than he was in Aquaman. Okay? So there's all this stuff that we can say about the character, but we should not come over here and get up in arms over the fact that his book is canceled. This is what happens to Aquaman. It's what happens to a lot of characters who, to be quite honest, are supporting characters, but they're not really lead characters who can hold up their title, for longer than, I mean, look, he went about 60 issues, maybe over 60 issues right now. That's good. That's 5 years worth of stories for him. That's pretty good. He'll be back.
So,
Got nothing to say for that, bro.
okay,
Spin rack,
out.
you're wrong.